Government corruption has never been more prevalent or caused more harm. It's why extremism is on the rise. It's why the financial gap between the haves and have-nots has never been wider. And it's why our planet is at risk of an extinction level tragedy. That's why I need your help to keep exposing the truth about the rot on both sides of the aisle. Become a supporter or a friend of the show today by clicking on the coffee link in the description box below. Friends of the show join me on a Zoom hangout once a month, and you guys can ask me any questions you want, and I can get to know you better. But the most important reason to help is to keep the show alive. Together, we can and will save our country and our planet. Thanks in advance and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So Trump minion and accused criminal Tina Peters lost her primary election for Secretary of State in Colorado. But guess what? She's alleging that there was election fraud. Yeah, I know. Surprising, right? The woman who's currently under indictment for allegedly breaking the law to try to help Trump overturn the election results in 2020 is now saying that her own election was rigged. And she's now blaming Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert for encouraging her to break the law. So Peters told the New York Times that Boebert, who's her congresswoman, quote, encouraged me to go forward with the imaging. So she's referring, of course, to making digital copies, digital images of voting machine data. That's one of the crimes for which she's been charged, as well as numerous other felonies and misdemeanors related to this whole matter. And Boebert, of course, denies any involvement. Now, as for Peters' Secretary of State primary, it was a three-person race. Peters received the lowest number of votes. The winner received 44.7%. A second candidate received 28.8%, and Peters snagged only 26.5%. But Peters told the Denver Post, quote, the numbers are flipped and the results are fraudulent. It's not over. Of course, this is the same thing that Peters said about the 2020 election. And those claims have completely been debunked over and over again. Also, she said before the 2020 election, a news crew went in and they were talking to her about her setup because she's a county clerk. She was a county clerk in Colorado, in Mesa County. And she was bragging about their setup. She was bragging about their election system and saying, oh, no Russians are going to break into this equipment. No Russians are going to rig the election this time, like making fun of Democrats for saying that the Russians had rigged the election for Trump, which nobody said they flipped votes. Nobody said they hacked into machines and flipped votes. So she was so sure that the machines were hack-proof and were so perfect that she was literally making jokes about it and bragging about it to the press. Now, all of a sudden, she changes her tune because Trump lost. And here's the deal. The district attorney just completely annihilated all of her arguments in court. The district attorney's office recently used surveillance camera footage from her office to expose the fact that she's either lying or she's delusional. I don't know which, but here's the deal. Here's what they found. Peters' legal team gave the court this report. This was back in March of this year. This report was written by a data analyst who goes by the handle, you're going to love this, of MAGA Raccoon. So he was one of the authors of this report. There was one other person who also co-authored the report. These stable geniuses claim that the election machines had to have been hacked. They had to have been manipulated by outside forces because there was no way that a human being could have logged 10 batches of ballots within 47 seconds. They said in the report that it was, quote, physically impossible. That report also alleges that, quote, Mesa County election clerks were unaware of these batch timestamps or any issue that could explain them. Well, Peters may want to look into a plea deal because the time and date stamp surveillance video collected by the DA's office clearly shows Peters' fellow Mesa County staffers running those 10 batches through the machines within 47 seconds. This was on the date and time in question. So it's on video. You see her staff running those batches through. And even more damning is the fact that the video shows that one of her allies is a woman named Sandra Brown. She's one of the people loading the ballots. Brown is one of the people accused of helping Peters with her illegal activity following the 2020 election. And another allegation that was in this report that was shared by Peters' legal team is that at one point during the ballot counting, election officials say that they apparently had a problem with the Dominion voting machine. One of the machines, I don't know if it jammed or what, but the report that these guys wrote states that all of a sudden this issue mysteriously resolved itself after election officials contacted Dominion's helpline. So the authors of this report say, oh, see, this is proof that Dominion's machines were hacked, that Dominion had the ability to access the machines remotely and manipulate the election results. Because what a coincidence that they called this helpline and all of a sudden these machines started working again. Yeah, well, the surveillance footage also debunks that lie. The surveillance footage and the phone record show that, number one, they didn't actually make that call. There was no such call placed to Dominion. Number two, it shows that once again, this Tina Peters, her friend Sandra Brown, was involved. She performed a hard start on the equipment, and that is what resolved the issue. The report also claims that the authors conducted, so the guys who wrote it say in this report, oh, we conducted, quote, extensive questioning of Mesa County clerks. And it states that the staffers had a, quote, strong recollection of the ballot counting process, and that they told these two guys that human error had been ruled out. The DA's office spoke with all of those election workers, everybody who was present during the Dominion machine error, and they all said the same thing. The authors of that report, these two men, never once contacted them. Not, oh, we didn't have extensive questioning from them, as they claim. No, they never spoke to the guys that wrote this report at all. And the DA's office also tried to reach out to these guys. They tried to contact the authors of this report, and the prosecutor couldn't even reach them. And this MAGA raccoon guy, one of the co-authors of the report, he confirmed on his website that the DA's office tried to contact him. And he told his audience that, oh, I just referred them to Peter's attorney. So he admits they tried to contact him. He blew them off, but he's saying, oh, I just sent him over to Peter's attorney, which, number one, according to the DA's office, is not true. They couldn't reach him at all. And it sure seems like he's trying to distance himself from this whole thing. I mean, if this guy wrote this report and he's so sure of what he put in it, he and his co-author, why not speak to the DA's office? Why not help Tina Peters out? You know, she's just another rube. She threw her life away. She threw her future and her career away for a lifelong con artist who hasn't given her a second thought. He's out riding around on a golf course in Margaritaville, and he hasn't thought of her once. And she gave up everything for him. All right, guys, I'll keep you posted. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.